Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that life is something you have to win. Win at work, win at money, win at comfort, win at status. But what happens when you move to a place where none of that really matters the way it used to? A place that quietly asks you to slow down, soften your grip, and stop keeping score. Back home in the West, life often feels like a competition. Bigger goals, faster progress, more control, more answers. But the Philippines has a way of gently dismantling that mindset. Things move at their own pace here. Systems are imperfect. Plans change. Control is limited. And slowly you realize you can either fight that reality or learn to live inside it. Ego often arrives before understanding. It shows up as frustration when things do not go your way. It shows up when expectations clash with reality. It shows up when you think something should work the way it did somewhere else. Living here teaches you that ego does not make life easier, it makes it heavier. Control feels safe. Schedules, rules, efficiency, predictability. In the Philippines, control is not always available, and at first, that feels uncomfortable. But over time, you start to see that letting go of control does not mean chaos. It often means peace. Instead of asking why things are not working, you start asking how to adapt. You stop pushing and start adjusting. You stop expecting and start observing. Life becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about responding calmly to what is in front of you. Living with less here is not about deprivation. It is about simplicity. Smaller spaces, fewer possessions, fewer distractions. You begin to notice how little you actually need to feel okay. Comfort becomes quieter. Happiness becomes lighter. When you own less, you notice more. You notice time passing differently. You notice people. You notice conversations. You notice moments that would have been invisible before. Less physical clutter creates more mental space. Success here does not always look like progress charts or milestones. Sometimes success is a calm day. Sometimes it is feeling content without needing more. Sometimes it is choosing rest over productivity and peace over proving something. Comparison loses its grip when your life no longer looks like anyone else's. You stop measuring your path against others. You stop explaining your choices. You stop justifying a slower pace. Life becomes personal again. There is freedom in not trying to win, freedom in not chasing, freedom in not performing. When you let go of the need to prove yourself, life feels lighter. You start living instead of managing an image. Money still matters, but it stops being the center. You see how far simple things can go. You see how value is not always tied to price. You see how contentment is not something you buy, but something you practice. Without constant urgency, time feels different. Days feel longer. Moments stretch. You are not rushing toward the next thing. You are present with the current one. That alone changes how life feels. Living in the Philippines, some expectations quietly fall away. You stop expecting life to feel a certain way. You stop expecting yourself to be a certain version. You allow growth to happen without pressure. Not knowing becomes normal. Plans are flexible. Outcomes are uncertain. And somehow, that becomes comforting. You learn that clarity is not required to move forward. Instead of trying to change the environment, you learn to respect it. You observe how things work. You adapt without resentment. You understand that not everything needs fixing. Life here is not perfect. Systems are imperfect. Days are unpredictable. But imperfection no longer feels like failure. It feels human. Living in the Philippines without trying to win is not about giving up. It is about letting go. Letting go of ego. Letting go of control. Letting go of excess. And in doing so, you often gain something far more valuable than success. You gain peace. Thanks for riding with me today. If you enjoyed these videos, let me know in the comments. Reading your comments is what motivates me to keep creating content. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.